Hello everybody, welcome to week 1 of our Couch to 50k. This will be a 6-week series building people up from nothing. Hello everybody, welcome to week 1 of our Couch to 50k. This will be a 6-week series building people up from nothing to hopefully 50 kilometres by the end of it. This is basically similar to the Couch to 5k running initiative, but we're kind of doing our own spin on this to involve cycling. So this is based for people who enjoy riding bikes or haven't really ridden bikes very much, and it's a 6-week program that will help you be able to build up from not riding a lot to being able to complete a 50-kilometre ride at the end of this block, which also handily coincides with our Sportive. So our Made of Stone Sportive will be at the end of June, and that basically will incorporate all of the training and sessions that you've done, and will be progressive in that sense. So today all we want to really speak about is the first week. So the first week of this block will be getting used to riding the bike, familiarisation and learning how to handle your bike, and just kind of getting in the swing of things. Because obviously I'm not expecting everybody here to have ridden a bike a lot. So some of you might literally be picking up for the first time. Other people might have ridden on and off but not had anything consistent, and they want a goal. And this is a really good way to help build your fitness but not have a massively intimidating goal by the end of it. Because I know a lot of Sportives that you see are 100 kilometres, and that's a long way to go from not having ridden a bike or not having done much on a bike consistently. So week 1 focuses purely on the simple facts of getting used to the bike. So each week I'll give you 3 sessions to do, because obviously I know a lot of people have other commitments in life, and it's hard to be able to commit a high volume of time to the cycling. So this is a way that anybody can do it around whatever their life commitments are. So the first week will be, as I said, very low intensity, just riding your bike, getting the feel for the bike. It's really, really important that you make sure that you are pacing yourself. So don't just go hell for leather as soon as you leave the house. Really think about how fast you're going. Try and keep it slow. It doesn't matter if you get to the end of it and you're feeling really fresh, that's great. But these will be really short rides. So for week 1, this will be focusing, again, as I said, on getting used to the balance of riding a bike, getting your confidence up, and getting used to short, consistent rides. So riding 3 or 4 times a week. I'll set you, as I said, 3 rides, but there's no reason why you couldn't do 4 if you have the time. But what I'm trying to do is give you the sessions, the bare minimum that you need to get to the stage you want to, without compromising on your own personal time and then making it unrealistic for you to be able to complete said sessions. So ride 1 of the week would be 3 to 5 kilometres. Again, as I said earlier, keeping it very, very easy, because at this stage we don't want to push yourself. You just want to get used to that feeling of being on your bike. Then your second ride, you want to do it a little bit longer, so make sure it's about 5 kilometres. So you're not pushing too much, especially if you did a slightly longer ride on the first one, but it gives you a little bit of extra push. And then the final ride of the week would be between 5 and 8 kilometres, again dependent on terrain and general difficulty, and how tired you feel. Because some people, you might find it really, really easy this week. Other people it might be a little bit more challenging, so you might want to only do 6 kilometres on the last ride because you're really feeling it, because you've not done a lot before now. But as I said earlier, it's really important that you keep the effort low. You should easily be able to talk in these sessions, and they're really good opportunities for you to practice trying to take a bottle out of your bottle cage so you can drink in the later rides, stopping and starting at junctions, handling your bike around corners, and all of these key skills that will enable you to progress as a bike rider and be more comfortable when it comes to your end of your challenge and that final 50-kilometre bike ride. It's also really important that you use these rides to build up that endurance base. So the whole point of these rides is to get your body used to repeated efforts over multiple days. Again, keeping the intensity low, because at this stage we're just getting used to riding a bike. We're not trying to have some heroic efforts. And it's really important as well to think about the terrain you're on, because obviously if you're doing a 5 kilometre flat ride, it's going to be a lot easier than if you're going to go and do a 5 kilometre ride in the mountains. So bear in mind your terrain, so especially on the ones, the longer rides, if it's 5 to 8 kilometre range but you're living somewhere really hilly, you'd probably want to keep it to about 6 kilometres, whereas if you're somewhere flat you'd be more inclined to push it to the 8 kilometres. But then again, base these on feel. So if you feel like you can do a little bit more, go ahead and do a little bit more. If you feel like you're struggling, stick to the lower end of the scale. And as we go throughout the weeks, you'll progress and you'll be able to feel where you sit on that scale. But for now, just base it on how you feel. If you're struggling, do the lower end. If you're finding it really easy, then do the higher end. The total duration of this week should be between 15 and 20 kilometres of riding. And obviously the actual physical duration will vary based on how long it takes you to complete that, but that is the mileage and distance you should be aiming to complete within this first week. So I've got a couple of key tips for you going into this unknown. First things first, go slower than you think. It's really, really easy to go into a ride and feel like you're fine and it's really easy, but it doesn't take very long for it to all come back to you. So it's really, really important that you keep the pace slow at the start. And if you feel like towards the end that you can push on a little bit, that's great, but it's better for it to be that way around than you going too hard at the start and then not being able to complete the ride. Again, it's also really important that you're comfortable on your bike. As a lot of you may not have ridden bikes very much, investing in a pair of padded shorts can really help to keep the comfort, especially on the saddle. Checking that your saddle height is correct, so you're not stretching too much to reach the pedals, but also you're not really cramped up. So a good way to check this without having to do anything too fancy is when you're sat on the saddle, you should be able to put your heel on the centre of your pedal and your legs should be straight. And that will just help reduce the risk of knee pain and any numbness that could also be related to this. So that is your main points for your first week. It's also really important that you rest, so don't do all 3 rides one day after the other. It's really important you have rest in between these rides to make sure you get the most out of them. And if you feel like you have the time to do another ride in that week, that's great. But again, I've only put 3 rides in because that means that it's accessible to everybody. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And I look forward to tuning in with you guys next week to talk about week 2 and how that will progress. Thank you for joining and I'll see you later.